Yes. 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 So tender form is nothing but it is a part of tender documents. It is nothing but it is a part of tender document. Tender form is printed. Is printed standard form of contract giving standard conditions of contract. We are having a standard conditions in this case. So it is a part of tender document in which tender form is printed standard form of contract giving standard conditions of contract. In a standard conditions we will lay down the standard conditions. We will have a specific conditions to be carried out, standard conditions to be maintained while executions of while constructing any structure. So therefore standard conditions of contract. Okay. So general rules and directions for the guidance of contract. There is also a memorandum for giving general which things it has been covered in this standard form. General description of work it has been taken care. General description of work, whether we are having a load bearing structures or whether we are constructing a road structures or bridges or flyovers. So standard way a description it has been given. Okay? The general description of work it has to be mentioned. Estimated cost it is very important. Estimated cost is also important. Earnest money is important. Earnest money we will see in next slides the detail about the earnest money or security deposit. So estimated cost, the total amount of cost required for a constructions. So estimated cost will be taken care. Earnest money will be also taken care. Earnest money is nothing but security deposit will also be taken will be mentioned in the standard document. Again, fifth is nothing but the time limit in months and years. So duration of times, whether it is to be completed in 1 month or 6 months or 1 year, the time duration is also important. Okay? So time limit in months and years is also important. It will be mentioned in this tender form. Again, column for signature of the contract before submission of tenders. There will be a column in which signature will be given. So column for signature of the contract before submission of tender. Signature of witness to the contractor's signature and signature of the officer by whom accepted. Okay? So there will be all the with proper signatures or proper authority. We have to sign with the various authorities with the various authorities such as contractors sign witness to the contractors. It is to be mentioned, and signatures of the officers it is also to be taken care. Okay? The price of the tender form is given on the form. This printed form and other documents are to be purchased on a cash payment. Okay? It is to be purchased on a cash payment from the government departments. Okay? To purchase on a cash payment from the office inviting tender during office hours or on all working days. Okay? So during office hours we can purchase by giving a cash from the government offices. Okay? On the working days. So this is nothing but a short. There is a sample for this tender review form. This is a sample for tender review form in which the format number it is to be mentioned here. Tender review number it is to be mentioned. Date it is also tender notice number. So tender notice it has to be it will be published in the government newspapers. The number of that tender notice it is to be mentioned in this tender form. Okay, so tender notice number will it is to be mentioned along with the dates. Okay, so in which date it has been mentioned. So along with the date here tender notice it is to be mentioned. Again, item number it is also important. There may be several items of work to be carried out. So here item number is also important thing. Again, tender issuing authority, whether it is PWD department or whether various tender issuing departments. CPWD is there or BWD is there, irrigation department is there. So tender issuing authority in the department which is the authority. Okay? So tender issuing authority. Date of pre-bid conference, here it is to be mentioned last date of issue of tender and last date of receipt of tender, and tender fees is also to be taken. It is to be written here. whereas date, time of opening and submission tender, it is to be mentioned. Earnest money deposit, EMD, is nothing but the earnest money deposit. It is to be mentioned along with earnest money deposit. Here again there are some things to be taken care. Here again some things to be taken. Amount, it is to be made. Mode of deposit, FDR, and bank guarantee, whether it is in DD form. So it is to be written here. Again, checklist, number of items, item numbers, its description, completed with all details, it is to be mentioned. And list of enclosures, though which are the things we are enclosing here. So all these things to be mentioned here. So list of enclosures to be taken, it is to be mentioned here. Next is what is tender documents. Okay, so various conditions and terms of contracts which are to be formulated while inviting tender for civil engineering works are various conditions and terms of contracts which are to be formulated while inviting tenders for a civil engineering works. Okay, so here these are the documents required. The first is most important is NIT. NIT is nothing but the notice inviting tender. The notice inviting tender is a standard approved form of a department. It is to be here the important document. It has been considered as NIT, that is the notice inviting tender, which has been given. So the notice inviting tender is a standard approved form of a department. It is to be attached. Again, tender form with the standard conditions of contract, that is in printed form. It is to be attached. So tender form with standard conditions. Already we have seen in previous slide what is tender form. Okay? So tender form with all the heads which has been mentioned in that tender form, it is to be filled and it is to be attached. Okay? So tender form with the standard conditions of a contract in a printed form. Again, third point is nothing but a schedule of quantities. Schedule of quantities of work. Schedule of quantities in the sense which quantities it is to be carried out. Okay? The earthwork in excavations is there, or PCC is there, or RCC is there. So schedule of quantities. What are the different quantities we are considering in this case? So all these quantities, it is to be taken care. Okay? So schedule of quantities, of work to be done, and materials, tools and plants to be supplied by the department, if any. If we are supplying tools and plants, if we are supplying the materials, it is to be again attached. It is to be taken care. Okay? To be supplied by the department, if any. Again, next point is nothing but the specific terms and conditions. If the specific terms and conditions, it is to be maintained as specific terms and conditions, or specific provisions to be taken care. So all these provisions, it is to be mentioned here. Okay? The specific terms and conditions. Again, complete specification of work to be executed. Specification is nothing but a specific description. It is to be taken care. The specific description of a work which has to be executed, which is to be carried out, the specific description of that work, it is also to be mentioned. Okay? The complete specifications of work to be executed, whether it is a PCC work, or whether it is an RCC work, or whether it is an earthwork in excavation, or different works it is to be carried out. So specific description of that work, it is to be taken care in this case. Next in the tender document is nothing but the one set of the approved drawing where necessary. Okay? And drawing also plays an important role, because depending upon the drawings, we will quote the rates of the different items of work. The drawings is also attached. So one set of the approved drawings where necessary, it is attached, because all the details will be mentioned in the drawings. All the things related with the measurements will be given in the drawings. Various heights or lengths, or various dimensions will be mentioned in the drawing. So drawings, it is also to be attached. Okay? The one set of the approved drawings where necessary, it is to be attached. Again, next point is nothing but the all the documents are signed by the contractors page by page. Okay? In every page there should be a sign, because sign indicates that I have read the things which has been mentioned, and I will execute as per the written form. Okay? So all the documents are signed by the contractors page by page. Forwarding letterhead of a contractors with bank draft or other form of earnest money are to be put in the closed cover. Okay? If there is an earnest money, or if there is a letter of the contractors with a bank draft. Okay? So DD, it is to be also taken care, earnest, in which earnest money, it is to be enclosed in a closed envelope. Okay? It is to be kept in a closed envelope, and it is to be submitted. Again, then the cover is closed and dropped in a tender box within the time limit for the tenders. Within the time limit, the duration which we have set, within that time limit, it is to be given. Okay? So it is to be attached. So the name of the work and the name of the contractors are mentioned on the cover, because most important is depending upon the work and depending upon the contractor, name of the contractor. Okay, so these two things, it is to be mentioned on the cover, because these two things are important, because whether it is construction of roads or bridges or construction of any structure is there, so we have to mention the names, the name of the work, it is also important, and name of the contractors who is giving these various documents. Okay? So his name, it is to be mentioned on the cover, and also the name of the work which is to be executed. Again, what is tender notice? Tender notice is nothing but the tender for work or supply are invited by issuing tender notice in prescribed form. So, which things to be covered in the tender notice? So, these are the points which is to be taken care in the tender notice. Okay? So, tender notice, in the tender notice, first most important is nothing but the name of the authority or name of the department, whether it is public work departments or CPWD department or MES department or any irrigation department. So any government authorities which is inviting the tenders, the name of that authority or name of that department is it is most important, which has been given in the tender notice. Okay? So name of the authority or department inviting tender, that is example, that is government of here is an example for this. That is the government of Tamil Nadu water resource organizations public work departments. So here it is the name of the authority along with the department. So both things it has been mentioned here. Here name of the authority is also mentioned, that is the work water resources organizations, and it has been carried out under the public work department, PWD department. Okay? Again, next point is nothing but the name of work and its locations, where it is to be located and what is the type of work. The name of work, whether it is construction of road or bridges or flowers or any type of work, or it is maintenance work. So name of work, okay? Whether it is execution work, whether it is a maintenance work, whether it is a construction of new building, the name of work and its location is also important. Okay? Again, estimated cost is important. What is the total cost of that work, whether it is in crores or lakhs, how much is the cost of that work. Okay? Estimated cost, it is to be mentioned in the tender notice. Okay? The estimated cost, it is to be taken care. Again, last date and the time of receipt of tender. What is the time and date. Okay? What is the time and date of the receipt of tender, it is also important. Again, period of availabilities of tender document or validity of documents. Okay? So what is the period of availabilities or period of availabilities of tender documents or validity of tender. Again, cost of tender documents. What is the cost for the tender documents? It is to be taken care. What should be the documents required, or what is the cost for the tender documents? Okay. So it will be mentioned here. The cost of tender documents. Again, time of completion and time of contract. What will be the duration for its completions? So duration for completion. That is the time of completion. What is the time span for the construction of work or maintenance of work? So time of completion is also important, and its type of contract. Okay. Earnest money. Next is earnest money deposit to be paid and security deposit. Earnest money, that means it is nothing but a security. It is a token amount that I am willing to do the work in the which has been given by the government firm. So earnest money, it has to be deposited. It is to be paid. It is just an agree. It is just an agree that I am willing to do the work. So it is nothing but the earnest money. Okay? The earnest money we will see in next slides in detail. The earnest money, it is to be paid and security deposited after approval or after selection of the tenders. It has to be security deposit. It is to be made. Okay? And date, time, and place of opening the tenders is also important. Where what will be the date, what will be the time and place where it will be opened. Okay? So date, time, and place of opening the tender, it will be mentioned. Again, designations of the officer opening the tender, it will be mentioned in this tender notice. Who will open the tender? This is a tender notice in this case. So all these things will which we have described or which we have taken care in previous slide, which we have mentioned in the previous slide, all this it has been covered in this tender notice. Okay? So in this tender notice, it has been the authority is nothing but Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. So here tender, here public tender number, notice number, it has been mentioned here. It is here the number it has been mentioned. The date it has been mentioned is 1912. It is just examples. Okay. What is the authority? The director is the authority for this. The director, and with the following inter. What is the name of work it is to be carried out? Renovations of the canteen roof and the guest room toilet. Okay. So there should be some renovation work. It is to be carried out. So renovation of the canteen roof and guest room toilet at Crest campus, that is IA, it has to be carried out. What is the total cost for this repair work or renovation work? What is the total cost for this? So it is the total cost for this in this case is nothing but 9.72 lakhs. What is the duration required for this completions? Only 3 months duration time for completion is nothing but 3 months. Okay. For the earnest money deposit EMD required for this earnest money deposit, so it requires 20,000. So 20,000 is the earnest money deposit. What is the cost of tender documents? So here the cost of tender documents in which all the prescriptions, all the type of work, all the various specifications, all the details will be mentioned. So what is that tender document cost? So it is near about 1,000 rupees. Okay? And the tender document can be reviewed and downloaded from the website. The website is also given. The last date for submission of bid is the last date of submission for this bid is nothing but submission of these requirements of the tender documents is nothing but the last date is nothing but 10/1/2030 on or before 3 p.m. Okay. The bid will be opened at 3:30. That means on the same day it will be opened. After 30 minutes it will be open on the same day in the presence of attending tenders or other authorized representatives. Okay, administrative office. So here opening time it has also been mentioned. The opening time the mission it has been mentioned as 3:30 p.m. Whereas up to what time it has to be the tender will be accepted. So the date is 10/1/2013 and the time is nothing but the 3 p.m. So in short, it is the example for the tender notice which we have already this. Again, this is an example for the tender notice in which the contract container Corporations of India Limited, which has been a government of India, that is Bharat Container Corporation of India Limited, in which it has been having a tender number of this is nothing but the tender number. The date is also mentioned. Description is nothing but hiring of loaded reach stacker and forklift. Okay. Empty container handler at Nagpur container terminal. Okay. We have to lift the things. Here is the work for lifting or for carrying work. The cost of for this tender is nothing but tender document for the cost for tender document is nothing but 3,150 tender document. Okay. In which all the prescriptions of work, all the specifications of work, all the technical things related with the work will be mentioned. So it is the cost for that document is nothing but the 3,150. What is the earnest money required for this tender notice? The earnest money required for this tender notice is nothing but the 3 lakhs 30,000. Okay. So 3 lakhs 30,000 is the earnest money deposit. Okay. The earnest money deposit for this if we are having this tender. So what is the earnest money required? Earnest money deposit required in this case is nothing but the 3 lakhs 30,000. Of what is the mode of payment for this case? It will be mentioned. Mode of payment here in this case is nothing but the draft. Okay. Contract period is for an extra 1 year will be given, but actually it is for 4 years. 4 plus 1 is nothing but the extra 5 years. Okay. Date of sale of the tender documents. What is the date of sale? It will be started from 19 and it will be ended at 9/4. Okay. And what is the duration? Is also time is also given. Tender submission. What is the date for this? 10th of April. It has been given the date for the submissions. What about the bids? We are at the same date, 2:30, near about 3:30. It will be opened. Okay? And what is the authority for this case? The authority in this case is the General Chief Manager. Okay? So these are the examples for the tender notice. This is again an example for the tender notice. Informations to be given in tender documents. So what are the different informations to be given in tender documents? The notice inviting tender, which things to be covered in the tender documents, informations to be given in tender documents. So the notice, it has to be mentioned. Okay, the notice it is to be given here. Notice is also important. So here tender notice, the notice for the tender, that the notice inviting tender in a specified form like PWD 6 is an example. In a proper format, the tender notice, it is to be given that the notice inviting tender, a layout plan, location of work, it is to be this information is to be given in tender documents, because we are giving for a particular execution of work, which things tender documents, which things to be attached. Okay, the first is thing is nothing but the notice, which we have seen in previous slide, the tender notice, the notice it is to be attached. Okay. Next is a layout plan, location of work, it is to be given in this case. Next is a division in which location is situated, in which division it is, the location, the where work it has to be carried out, it has been situated. The division in which location is situated, it is to be mentioned. Again, schedule of quantities of work, whether what are the different schedule of quantities. Okay, whether it is in meter cube or meter square, or what are the different schedule of quantities. Okay. Again, nearest road or railway link, whether it is a nearest, it is connected to a road, or whether it is connected to a railway. So it is to be taken care. Okay? The nearest road or railway link, it is to be taken care in this case for the tender documents. Sixth point is nothing but the set of drawings, including working drawings. Okay? So various working drawings or a set of drawings, it is to be attached in this case. Availability of materials in the vicinities. What are the different materials, whether different materials will be available, that is cement, sand and aggregates of steel, or different materials. So whether it will be available nearby, or it is to be transported from the other sites, or other nearby where it has been dumped. So availability of materials in the vicinities, whether it is available from nearby available or not. Okay. Again, eighth point is nothing but the detailed specifications. Again, specifications are important in tender documents. So detailed specifications are reference to the standard specifications for each item of work. Okay. So detailed specifications, it is also important. Again, detailed specification in the sense what will be the type of work, what is the various ratios, whether it is, suppose there is example for RCC work, what will be the specification of RCC work. So what will the ratio for RCC is 1 to 4. So cement, sand and aggregates. Again, what should be, sorry, what should be the various testings to be done on the materials, cement, sand, and aggregates. What will be the quantities required for cement, sand, and aggregates? What will be its proportions? Any test to be performed in cement, sand, and aggregates. So all these descriptions will be covered in the specification. That is in the detailed specifications. Again, next point, information regarding tender documents is nothing but complete architectural and structural drawings. Okay? The tender documents will have a complete drawing, complete architectural as well as structural drawing. Okay? So a complete drawing will be taken care in this. Okay? So complete architectural and structural drawing will be taken. It is to be taken in the tender documents. Okay? Again, schedule of tools and plants and other facilities to be made available by the owner. If there is a requirement of the tools and plants, advanced equipments will be required, or advanced tools and plants will be required in execution of the work. So different types of tools and plants nowadays, tools and plants, or the various equipments, advanced equipments plays an important role in execution of work, because it reduces the time. So whether it is given by the contractors, so whether it is owned by the given by the owner, the schedule of tools and plants and other facilities to be made available by the owner. Okay? Indicating the conditions, higher charges and place of delivery. What will be the charges for hiring? Whether it is a monthly charges or yearly charges, the higher charges and place of delivery, where it will be delivered. Again, tender documents important is nothing but the rate of supply of power and the supply and the point of supply. Okay? Whether the power will be supplied by the owners, so what will be the rate of supply of power? Okay? Because power plays an important role. Without power, most of the work will not be carried out. Therefore, rate of power supply of power, it is also to be taken care. Okay. Again, location of water supply point, where from here we will have the power water supply line. So where it will be located, whether it will be located nearby, or whether we have to convey the water from afar. Okay. So what will be the traveling conveyance for the water also. Okay. The location of water supply point. Now again, time for completions and the progress to be made at intervals of time. What will be the time of completions? So time of completion will also be mentioned in the standard documents, where it will be at what time it will be completed. Okay? The time for completion and the progress to be made at intervals of time. So there may be some intervals will be decided after every week. A progress report will be taken care. So what will be the intervals for progress? Okay, progress work. Okay, so every say 3 days or every 4 days there will be review of the progress of work. How much the of how much progress, how much is the progress of work. Okay, so what will be the first is the total time of completions, and what in what which stages at what time the progress of work will be carried out. Okay, what will be the progress of work at the particular time. Again, 15th point is nothing but the conditions regarding employment of the technical personnel. What will be the conditions? Whether it's skilled labors, technical staff is nothing but the engineers. Okay? So, what will be the conditions? Whether it is whether we will hire diploma students, or whether we will hire engineering, or what will be the technical criteria for hiring for the contract. Okay? So, conditions regarding employment of the technical personnel. Or next is nothing but the weather conditions in the area, whether it is a rainy weather is there, or it is hot sun is there. So what is the weather conditions? Weather conditions in the area. Again, 17th point is nothing but the amount of earnest money deposit. What will be the amount for earnest money deposit, and the form in which it is to be paid? What will be the form? Whether it will be paid in DD, or whether it will be paid in cash, or any other form. Okay, so amount of EMD, that is earnest money deposit, and its form in which it will be paid. Again, tender documents, 18th point is nothing but insistence on income tax and sale tax clearance certificates. So, insistence is nothing but the important, it is to be compulsory. Insistence in there is compulsory. Compulsory for income tax and sales tax clearance certificates. So, in tender documents, these certificates also are also important. Income tax certificate is also important, and sales tax, okay, it is to be attached. Again, 19th is nothing but amount of security deposit to be paid, deducted from the running bill of contractors should be notified in the tender call notice. Okay. Again, security deposit, it is to be paid, or whether it is to be deducted. Okay. So whether the security deposit will be paid by the contractor at the time of accepting the tender, or it will be deducted from the running bills. Okay, monthly running bills. So there are two options. It will be directly paid by the contractors at the time of sanctioning or approval of the tender, or it will be deducted from the running bills. Or it is second option is nothing but we can there may be deductions of this security deposit from the running bills also. Okay, so there are two options. First, it can be paid directly. Total amount of security deposit will be paid at the time of acceptance of the tender, or second option is nothing but from the running bill it can be deducted. Okay. Again, mode of payment of work done. What will be the mode of payment? Whether it will be done through check, or whether it will be done through DD, or whether it will be done through cash. What will be the mode of payment of work done? So after completion of work, what will be the mode of payment? Okay, it is also important. Okay? So these are the tender documents. These things we are covering in tender documents. These are the important points which has been covered in tender documents, or which is the important points to be taken care in tender documents. 21st point is nothing but the penalty conditions for slow process and delay in the completion of work. If the process is slow, or if the process is delay, there is delay in the progress of work, there will be some penalty, it is to be carried out. Okay? So penalty conditions for slow progress and delay in the completion of work. If there is progress is slow, or there is delays. The next condition is delay. Total there is delay in the completion. The project which has been completed in 6 months, it is it is completing in 6.5 months or 6 months. So what is the delay time required, and what is the penalty to be taken care of? Again, last point is related with the tender documents is nothing but the designation of arbitrations, or technique for the resolution of dispute outside the courts or authority in case of dispute. What is our arbitrations? So if there is a dispute between the owner and the contractors, so what is the regulating authorities or resolving authorities? Who is the authority who will resolve the arbitrations or the dispute which has been caused between the owner and the contractors? That arbitrator is also important. What the person who will resolve the dispute between the two parties, that person is called as the arbitrator, and this thing is nothing but the arbitration. Okay? So arbitrator will be decided, and what is the or what is the designations. I think whether it is whether he is capable of resolving the dispute. So what is the designation of arbitration? Okay? It will be decided, or it will be taken care in this tender documents. So earnest money deposit, as I've already said, what is earnest money deposit? So it is an assurance that is I am willing to do the work. Okay, I am willing to do the work. Okay? So it is a token amount. In short words, we can say a token amount. So it is an assurance or guarantee in the form of cash on the part of the contractor to keep open the offer for considerations and to firm his intention to do. I am willing to do. Okay, his intention to take up the work accepted in his favor for execution as per terms and conditions. So I will do the work, or I am accepting the work, or I am willing to do the work with the proposed terms and conditions. I will follow the terms and conditions. I will follow the specifications. I will follow the rules and regulations regarding the work, and I am intending to do the work. Okay, I am intending to do the work. So such amount will be kept uh, by the contractors, so that it is that I am willing to do the work, I am interested to do the work, I am as an assurance, as an guarantee. Okay? Such money is nothing but the honest money deposit. So it is the amount of money to be deposited along with the tender documents to the department by the contractors. Yes, by the contractor quoting a tender that I am interested to, willing to do the work, I am intending to do the work. Okay? So it is deposited by the contractor in the form of cash or in the form of DD. Okay? So in case of refusal, this amount is forfeited. That means it will be forfeited. Earnest money deposit of contractors whose tenders are not accepted will be refunded. Okay? So this out of the 10, if suppose there are examples of 10. So after the 10 contractors they have given the earnest money, they have deposited their money, but out of the 10, one has been accepted. One contractors has been accepted for tender. So out of the 9, the amount of EMD of the 9 contractors will be refunded. Okay? It will be given back to the contractors. So this money will be given back to the contractor. EMD will be money. EMD will be given to the contractor. So how much percentage it has been fixed? The total amount or the total estimated cost, out of this only 1 to 2% it has been fixed. From the total amount, only 1 to 2% of the estimated cost of work is taken care by the estimated, that is the earnest money deposit. Okay? So out of the total estimated cost, 1 to 2% it has been taken care by the earnest money deposit. What is the objectives of the collecting EMD? Why we are collecting EMD? What is the purpose for earnest money deposit to be taken care, or it is to be collected? So first important is nothing but the restriction on unnecessary completions. So there, with the help of this, we can restrict unnecessary completions. Okay? We can restrict unnecessary completions. So contractors with a low sound financial positions may also submit tenders with a low price, which may lead to great difficulties in completion of work. So there may be, while inviting tenders, there may be some persons who will quote who will quote various items of works in a very least way. Okay? So in order to reduce the competitions, we can have this restrict the competitions. We can use this EMDA for restriction for the competitions. Okay? Thus, provision of EMD will restrict competition among sound financial contractors who are capable of completion works. Okay? So who are willing, who will be actually capable of doing the work will be given on the contract regarding the work. Okay? So thus a provision of EMD will restrict competition among sound financial contractors who are capable of completing the work within the stipulated time and within the stipulated amount, like a specific amount. Again, EMD plays an important role for punishment also. Okay? So contractors with no intention of work may quote low rates. They may be punished for forfeiting EMD. Okay? So here, in some contractors, they will quote rates without any knowledge or without any skills or without any skills of work. So they will quote the rates as low. Okay. So we have to punish with help of this EMD. We will forfeit or we will not give the EMD back. So this will be a punishment for those contractors who have quoted the rates below. Okay, below the actual construction work. Okay? So punishment for this punishment, EMD is also plays an important role. Okay? Again, compensation in case if contractor refuses to do work, it may be allotted to second lowest contractors, and EMD will be forfeited from the first lowest contractors. Okay? So compensations, EMD also plays an important role. In if two parties or the two contractors have quoted the rate, so second lowest will also will be allotted to the second chance will be given to the second lowest contractors also. So this EMD plays an important role in this case also. Next is again important term is nothing but the security deposit. So EMD is again after EMD, next important term is related with is nothing but the security deposit. So what is security deposit? Security deposit is the amount of money which is deposited by the contractor to the owner before awarding a work. Okay? Before awarding a work whose tender has been accepted. So EMD was before accepting tender, and security deposit is after accepting tenders. Okay? So security deposit is the amount of money which is deposited by the contractor to the owner uh, before awarding a work. Before awarding a work whose tender has been accepted in order to render or himself liable to the department to pay compensation amounting to the part or whole of his security if the work is not carried out to the prescribed specifications. Okay, so if the work it has been not carried out in the prescribed specifications or the laws, it has been not mentioned, all the clauses it has been not mentioned, or depending upon the work, the various specifications it has been not taken care. At that time, this security deposit plays an important role. Okay? So we have to, with the help of the security deposit, we can execute the work as per the specifications. Okay? So this amount is generally 5 to 10%. We have seen earnest money deposit, it is near about 1 to 2%, but here in this case it is 5 to 10%. Okay? So this amount is generally 5 to 10% of estimated cost of the project and is inclusive of the EMD already deposited by the contractors along with the EMD is already deposited. Beyond this, there is 5 to 10%. Beyond this, there is security deposit of 5 to 10%. Again, this will be refundable after the completion of period if the all the work it has been carried out in a proper way, and the completion the work it has been carried out with all specifications and proper all the things is in a flow and in proper way. That at that time the security deposit will be refunded. Okay, if there is any change in specifications, if the quality works it is not maintained, at that time this security deposit will be kept by the owner. Okay, so this will be refunded after the completion of the project. No interest is paid on SD. Okay? So there will not be any interest paid on this security deposit. The contractor has to fulfill all the terms and conditions, as I've already said that he should fulfill all the specifications. He should fulfill all the terms and conditions. The contractor has to fulfill all the terms and conditions laid down in the contract and maintain quality and speed satisfactorily. We have to maintain the quality also. We have to maintain the speed also. This is not as such. We are increasing the speed and we are reducing the quality. At the same time, we have to maintain the quality as well as speed. So this security deposit plays an important role in maintaining the quality as well as speed in the construction of work. If he fails to do so as a part, or whole of the SD is forfeited by the department. It will be taken by the department. If he fails to satisfy the specifications, if he fail to satisfy the quality, if he fails to satisfy the various aspects related with the quality or specifications, so this SD will be taken care, or it will be forfeited by the department. If there is any fault in the construction and the contractor refuses to demolish and reconstruct, then the department will carry out that work using the SD. Again, this SD can be used for if any type of work it has not been constructed in a proper way, and it is to be demolished, or it is to be reconstructed, and the contractor refuses to demolish, and he refuses to reconstruct. At the time, this the department they can use this the security deposit for reconstruction or demolitions or for maintenance work. Okay, at the time they are having the authority to reuse the SD money for demolition and for reconstructions. Following are the main reasons for security deposit for loans. It serves as security against the material or the plants and machinery supplied by the department to the contractor as a. So it is just a deposit for the loans. It plays an important role. Security deposit plays an important role against materials, plants, and machinery supplied by the department. If the department is supplying plants or machineries, at that time there should not be harm to the materials. There should machineries and plants. So security deposit plays an important role. If there is any damage to the machines, or if there is any damage to the tools and plants, that means we can reduce some amount, or we can deduct some amount from the security deposit. Okay, so in the form of deposit, we can the government or the owner can give plants and machineries for execution work. Okay, punishment is also important for security deposit on incomplete work. As I've already said, on incomplete work in time, used to inferior quality of materials, leaving work incomplete, SD is forfeited as punishment. Okay, so again, if the quality work it has not been maintained, and if we are leaving the work before completions, if some part of work it has been left incompleted, and the contractor it has not completed the work up to the last extent, up to the last finishes at the time, and if the contractor has not be, maintained the quality of materials, has not maintained the quality also, at that time, in case of punishment, this security deposit plays an important role. Okay? So SD is refundable after successful completion of work within the specified time. It is refunded after the first maintenance in is done, which is 6 months. After first maintenance, we can refund the security deposit. Okay? So after maintenance work, it has been, or after 6 months, because after 6 months we can actually examine the construction work, whether the construction work it has been properly done or not, if there is any faults, or if there is any leakages, or if there is any quality work it is to be carried out. At the time, this SD plays an important role in order to maintain the quality, or in order to maintain the any type of faults it has to be made in the construction of work. Next is nothing but the qualification of the contractors. What is the qualification for the contractors? Registration of contractors. The contractor must get himself registered in the department of or that is the government, or the government contractor for which he is interested to take up work. Okay. So first he should register for particular type of work. The qualification of the contractors. First most important point is the registration. Okay. The contractor himself should register in the department for the department which is interested to do the work. Okay. Next is nothing but the government contractors are entitled to do government jobs if awarded. So government contractors are entitled to do government jobs if awarded. If they are given the government job, so they should do the jobs in the government departments also. Okay. Again, contractors are classified according to the registrations and registration fees, and depending on this they can undertake works up to a certain amount. Okay? Depending upon the registration fees, or depending upon the amount restricted, or the limits for the contractor, on the various, there is some limits for the construction or contractors. So depending upon the restrictions, depending upon the registration fees, and depending upon certain type of work it is to be executed. Again, to get a contractor to be registered under certain class, he has to apply to the competent authority. He should apply to the competent authorities for a particular category. Okay? There may be class first, second, third. So depending upon the different class, depending upon the different limits for the construction of work, depending upon he should apply to the competent authority for its registrations. Next is nothing but the application. The application should contain the following documents, and the which documents to be covered in the applications. So current income tax certificate is also important. Current clearance certificate or income tax clearance certificate is also important. So you should clear the income tax. Next is nothing but second point is work certificates for all the works performed during the last 3 years and those in progress. Okay? So history of the last 3 years work which has been carried out, what which type of work has been carried out in last 3 years, what was the amount or what was the completion period, and what are the details of the last 3 years work. Okay? The work completion certificate is also important. The work certificates for all the works performed during the last 3 years and those in progress, it is to be attached. Next is solvency certificates prove that the person's assets are more than his liability. Okay? So there is this proof certificate is also important. Okay? So solvency certificate is nothing but the proof that person's assets are more than his liabilities. Okay? And the assets solvency certificate in the sense the amount of work which I am ready to carry out, the more amount of more amount it is available with me in the form of assets. Such certificate is also it is to be attached. That certificate is nothing but the solvency certificates. Okay? For an appropriate amount. Again, attested a copy of deed of partnerships and power of attorney on stamp paper if needed. With the power of attorney, it is to be also attached, or a deed of partnerships. Okay? If there is any partnership or power of attorney, if we are giving an authority to any other contractors, so its letter it is also to be attached. Okay? Again, fifth point is nothing but the understanding for employment for the class 1 and 2 staff. It is to be undertaking for employment of the class 1 and 2 staff. Okay? So it is to be attached. Applications in duplicate with all documents will be attached. Attested photos of all the partners, if any, it is to be attached. What is the opening of tenders? All the tenders should be sealed and submitted. Opening of tenders. So all the tenders it is should be sealed and submitted to the respective officer before the time and the date as mentioned in the tender note. Okay. So before the stipulated time and date, it is to be submitted to the department at the stipulated time before that time in a sealed form. Okay. So all the tenders should be sealed and submitted to the respective officer before the time and the date as mentioned in the tender note. At the next point is nothing but at the described date, time and place, all the received tender will be opened in the presence of intending tenderers or their authorized agent. Okay? So it will be opened before the tenderers at the prescribed date, time, and place. Okay? The date, time, and place will also be mentioned, and in front of that, it will be opened in the presence of intending tenderers or their authorized agent. Okay? Again, the third point is the rates quoted by the various tenders should be it shall be read out by the officers. The rates quoted will be read out. It will be disclosed by the officer. Okay? It will be read out by the officer. Again, important points related with the following points should be observed while opening the tenders. These are the important points to be taken care while opening the tenders. The tender should be opened in public at that is the date on a place as well as and time date. Okay, in the office of the at what is the office name it is also to be mentioned, and the rates will read out in presence of the owner or committee members and the tenderers or their respective representations as are presented. Okay? So the time, date and place will be mentioned. Also the amount will be read by the amount, the rates will be read out in the presence of all the committee members. Okay? Again, important is nothing but if the owner is not present, the architect along with one assistant should open the tender. Okay? If the owner it is not present, the architect is having the authority to open the tender. Okay? To open the tender. The architect shall scrutinize the same, prepare the comparative statements, and forward them to his client. Okay? Again, after opening the tender, scrutiny will be done, and comparative statement will be made. Okay? Comparative statement of the different contractors. The comparative statements of the rates quoted by the different contractors will be again made. Okay? So comparative statement and forward them to this client with his recommendations as to whom the work shall be awarded and why. Okay. So after comparative statement, it will be decided and which the contractor to be given for the particular type of work. Okay. Again, record must be kept for the list of tenders and the money deposited by them. The earnest money should preferably be accepted in the form of bank draft. Okay? In the form of DD, earnest money will be accepted, and the list will be made. How many tenderers has submitted the tender documents? So the list will be mentioned, and the earnest money which will be accepted in the form of DD, the demand draft. The lowest tender should be fourth is nothing but the lowest tender shall be accepted after close investigations on the reputations and standing of that contractors. Okay? The lowest tender, depending upon if it is fulfilling the conditions, if he is fulfilling the terms and conditions, the lowest tender will be accepted for the particular type of work. Again, it is essential to ensure that they have been thoroughly checked and are without any mistakes. So the amount should be properly checked. The descriptions will should be properly checked, and it is to be tallied so that there should not be any mistakes regarding the acceptance of the tender. Scrutiny of tenders. What are the things to be carried out while scrutiny of the tenders? While scrutiny of the tenders, which things to be taken care while scrutiny of the tenders? The scrutiny of tenders, a list of all tenders received along with the details of the earnest money received. Okay, so the list will be made along with the names of the different contractors. Okay, tenderers. The list of all tenders received along with the details of the EM, that is the earnest money received, it should be shall be prepared. Again, next is important is it should be checked. It should be checked that every tender should be duly signed by the contractor. Every tender document or the tender will be signed by the contractor. It should be properly checked. Okay? The address of contractor shall be clear and complete. The address of the contractor should be clear and complete. Verification of the contractor's condition shall be done. All the verifications will be done. In a proper way. The various items of works or the various rates quoted, it is in a proper form or not. The verification of the contractor conditions regarding the contractor, whether he is fit to do the work or what are the conditions regarding the contractor, it is to be taken care. Again, rates, it should be mentioned in both figures and words. Both should be made. If there is any difference, lowest should be accepted. Okay, so lowest should be accepted, and if there is any difference, so it should be mentioned in words as well as in digits also. Okay, and if it is is there any change in words and digits, the lowest will be taken care. Okay, lowest will be accepted. Calculations done by the contractor at the total cost of the work shall be carefully checked. If there are various items of works, so if there are various items of works, the various heads are there. So each and every head, the proper calculations to be checked. The total amount, it has been properly made or not, it is to be checked. So calculations done by the contractor and the total cost of the work shall be carefully checked. And also, after tenders have been opened, a comparative statement is prepared in presence of the tender opening authorities and got signed by the authority. Okay. So again, comparative statements plays an important role. After opening the tenders, a comparative statement of different types of tenderers, it is to be made, and sign, it is to be the authority, the sign, it is to be made in this by the authority. Okay. Then compare the rates of various tenders in respect of each item rate against the estimated rate. Okay, so the comparison to be made with the various rates. Okay, then compare the rates of various tenders in respect of each item rate against the estimated rate. Then acceptance of tenders based on the comparative statement. Usually, the lowest tender is accepted. While accepting the tender accepting authority shall satisfy the following regarding the tenders. Okay? The lowest will be selected, but what is the conditions while selecting the lowest tender? So the finance authority should have the important things regarding the authority. First important is the financial status of each tender. So what is the financial status of the each tender? Okay, it is to be taken care. Okay, the financial status of the each tenderer. Again, next point is nothing but the capacity to do the work. Whether he is capable to do the work, whether he will execute the work in a proper way, whether the work will be completed in the stipulated time or not. So, what is the capacity to do the work? Whether the tenderer is having the capacity properly, they are having the manpowers or equipments or tools and plants or materials to execute the work. What is the capacity of that contractor? Okay, capacity to do the work. Again, the past record as a contractor, such as experience, procurements of labors, etc. Okay. The past 3 years experience should also be taken care, or it is to be counted whether he is having experience in the proper field or not. Whether the field which we are giving particular type of construction work, which whether he is having experience, past experience in the particular field or not, or availability of labors also. Okay, whether he is having a sufficient numbers of labors for the executions or not. Okay, so past record experience, it is to be taken care in this case. Okay, again, there are some more points related with the acceptance of tenders. So we will see in next lectures. We will see some more points related with the tenders. So today we will end the lectures related with the tenders and contracts. See? So, and if anyone having difficulty in regarding tenders and contracts, they may contact me, and we can solve. Solve the problem. We can solve the queries related with the tenders and contracts. Okay? Thank you. Today we will end the lecture. Thank you. Thank you.